Hello, my name is Clinton Booz, and this is my week 3.1 Simple Simon game demonstration and code explanation. I'm going to try to go over this real quick. This is my second time making the video. The first one ended up being way too long. Basically, the imports. Then I try to have everything. I like the idea of having things modular. So I created a function called setup, and this is where it will basically do the setup for the game, and it's called below um, within the loop. But basically, we have a couple of the colors set up right here, and their pin assignments right here. I'm using the BCM right down here. I like the idea of the professors that set it up. So I just ran through a for loop and set up all the buttons and the LEDs. So here's a couple of the variables. I just have it set right now, so max level 4. You can change it to whatever you want and it'll keep going. Current level just starts at 0. It gets set to 1 when a new sequence like right here gets started. But then these right here are used for later on for the button checks, basically to trigger which one was clicked, and so on. Then here's the list. The sequence list is basically the total list for creates the max level. It basically throws in there 4 elements, then game list pops it off and puts it into list. And then here's a setup, of course, for the GPIO. Alright, so we'll go ahead and come down here a little bit. This thing right here, new sequence, is basically just creates a new game. It'll clear your current level, it will create the lists, and it'll populate the list. And then button check, this basically takes in the argument of R, which is what the correct answer is, and it basically checks it against what you hit, and if it's correct, then it'll return a true. If it's wrong, it'll return a false, which will later on in the round function explain why it's that way. It's basically to tell it to continue looping or not. And then button press, this thing is basically just a loop that will sit here and continue to loop until it detects that you've pushed a button, and then it'll kick out and continue on with the program. And then we have blink. This basically just takes in the argument, which is basically the pin assignment, and blinks it. Blink loop will, the next one here, will basically take your current list of LEDs and blink it per that specific round. Update here, we'll go ahead and it pops it right here from the sequence list, which is the total list of that the whole game is supposed to be, and then throws it into game list. This TF basically just generates a random true false, which is used just for right here, this you win, and it's just for this part right here. So it'll basically just, when you win, it'll just run through this thing 30 times, and then go ahead and randomly blink the lights a bunch of times just to make it a little flashy or whatnot. Then it clears them out. Then the you lose basically just lights them up from left to right and then turns them off left to right. Then here's the round. This is just one round going through. I have to call the global, otherwise these things don't get reset or anything like that. Update goes ahead and pulls one from the sequence list, puts it in the game list so you can play. Blink loop blinks the lights. It sets correct to true here, which correct is the looping variable, basically to tell you whether or not that you selected the correct button per the LED. And so it kind of just loops through here until you finish, and as long as you get it correct, it'll return true. Otherwise, oh sorry, no, it'll loop through this whole thing until you finish the round, and if it gets to this thing and you've exceeded the game to the end of the game list, then it knows to return true, which means that you've done the correct for that round. Otherwise, it'll go false if you get the wrong button. Alright, and game here basically creates a new game. sets loop to true, and then so that's used for this while loop, and it's in conjunction with, have you hit the max levels? If so, then once you're done with that round, it'll exit out. And the loop here is basically pulled from round. That's why round up here will return either true or false depending if you got the correct answer or not. If you got the wrong answer, it'll go to false, which means you'll end up receiving the you lose. If you get them all correct and its max levels has been met, you get the win sequence. And then of course here's the end, which is basically just makes it so the modular type that I was referencing in the beginning, this right here keeps it so I can import this without anything being run. And that's about it for the program. And here is basically my simple wire diagram. And basically these pins aren't exact, they're just graphical representations. I'm showing that I'm using 3.3 volt. The ground's here, and this is basically exactly how it's set up on, as you can see over here. The only difference is instead of heading directly into the board, I'm connecting to our original breadboard here using the BCM, and then that connects basically directly to the Raspberry Pi. But per the program, the pin assignments are there of how it connects. But yeah, this is basically how it is. So let me go ahead, start it up. And then I have it, this is how it does the loop. It doesn't just automatically do it. It asks if you want to play or exit. So go ahead and do play. So red, yellow, red, yellow, yellow. And since I only did 4 rounds, it shows current level on the screen. When it does you win, you can see it just randomly does some lights just to try to be flashy or whatnot. So that's the win. So we'll go ahead and do the next one. Ooh, I wasn't looking, so I might get it wrong. Oh, you lose. I'll go ahead and do it again and just get a couple in. So blue, red, blue, red, blue. And I'll just mess up right here. Does you lose and kind of does a swipe of things, and go ahead and hit 0. And there we go. That's it. Thank you.